Welcome to this week's episode of LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I am your host, Brona Morgan, and this is the show where we talk about what you're talking about London, Southwestern Ontario. A lot of times, and recently in particular, we've been able to talk to a lot of really passionate public servants. So politicians, elected officials, former politicians, people who are so involved with our community because they have a passion for service and making our community a better place. But that's not the only way to serve our community, right? And so it's such a pleasure to have my friend Abbi here today. Abbi Lezizidis.
That's right.
I nailed it. Okay.
You nailed it.
I know. I always practice ahead of time and then I forget as soon as I have to say the word, but I'm glad I nailed it. President of Whitecaps Football Club of London, and he's here to tell us about a few things that are coming up with Whitecaps, but as well as the history of the organization, because once you hear about this organization, you're going to want to get involved. A lot of people love football, not American football, but your passion for what I call soccer. Anyways, talk to me, Abbi, about Whitecaps, your passion for football as well, and what's going on.
Okay, Brona, first of all, you said football. Our country's getting to that point where we call this game soccer. It's been known as soccer for years. And I'm thrilled to hear you introduce us as a football club because we're getting there.
Yeah.
And hosting a podcast for the last 4 years. Initially, we started calling it the Soccer Podcast. We're using that term, football, throughout the whole podcast. So thank you for having and allowing me to rep our club and to share what we do. So we're a soccer club. So we're all on the same page. We're a soccer club, and we're entering the football club piece across the term that everyone uses in the world. I'm excited to be here to talk about all the cool initiatives that we're doing. Our club started here in London 7 years ago. We're a true affiliate of the Vancouver Whitecaps of the MLS. Our curriculum.
The MLS is?
The Major League Soccer professional league here in North America, right? We have 3 teams in Canada, Montreal, Vancouver, and Toronto, right? So we are part of that stream. We're part of the 24 academy centers that are available right across the country, and we're one of them. The one thing that makes us a little different is that we actually have teams. All the other academy centers are exactly that, training grounds, right? Where we actually have teams. And we compete in local leagues, provincial leagues, and hopefully even national leagues at some point, right? As we're applying for some new licensing as we're speaking, right? But we actually, we're also very community oriented. But just to give you an idea, like our club started with about 30 players 7 years ago in a league called the Ontario Player Development League. It's the OPDL for short. It is where the top youth league players play. It's very similar to what would be considered the OHL of soccer for youth leagues. But then as our club continued to grow, we realized, not everyone has aspirations to be a professional player. They just want to play the beautiful game, right? And I use that term on my social media so much.
The beautiful game? The
beautiful game, because it brings out so much beauty. It is art. I mean, I know you love art, right? If anyone follows.
And I love movement.
That's right.
Too. I love, sport and athletic, and watching soccer. I have to say, watching football. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan, so when I think about watching football, I think about watching the NFL. But I got into watching soccer, I think maybe about 5 years ago, and you really. Yeah, it's hard to look away. I
mean, even today, as we're filming this today, I left my house where one of my favorite teams, Liverpool, we're winning 2-0, and as I'm driving away, they're losing 4-2. I mean, it's crushing, it's beautiful, both good and bad. But as we continued to grow as a club, I instantly realized and recognized that we had to spend some time not only, creating great soccer players on the pitch, and investing in that piece, but also making them great off the pitch. And that's kind of one of our key pieces at our club. The other key piece was to really identify where a lot of, how do I say this? Many organizations aren't maybe treating male and female equally, right? Where we're really focused on delivering an enhanced piece for the female development of the game. There's so much, females at age 15 and 16, they just disappear. And for whatever reason it is, like whether, they get a job, they get a boyfriend, just like the boys do. But there's just a massive fall off for females. It could be that they just lose their love for the game, right? I've always said to our coaching staff, Brona, always, my number one thing is, why did that player leave our club, right? Oh, they went and played somewhere else? Okay, that's great. Because I don't want to be the last club. I don't want to represent a club, and none of us do at our club, where it's the last club they ever played soccer with, right? Because if they're leaving us, that's great because they're going for something different, go play with some friends, just something else. But as long as they don't lose the love for the beautiful game, right? So the other piece that I thought we need to start getting community oriented. What are we going to attach ourselves with? What will help us build the game and also provide some influence to the females in the game? And we attached ourselves with the Shine the Light and Women Abuse movement here in London, which is part of the London Abuse Women's Centre. I know that I always believed that a tournament should have a meaning.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many tournaments out there called the Forest Tournament or the Green Tournament or the Brown Tournament. But I wanted a strong tournament with a strong message. Again, part of our bigger peace philosophy of not only creating great players on the pitch, but great players off the pitch, right? Because it's our job as adults to lead the youth into this sometimes uncomfortable conversations, right? But to make them recognize. And one of the leading things that happen here in London, if any of your viewers follow the London Abuse Women's Centre, they know about everything that's happening with regards to trafficking or abuse itself. And, these girls start young. I mean, they're trafficked at age 12, right? And so that was one of the pieces that I really wanted to kind of cling on to. So just prior to the pandemic, we hosted our first tournament. It only had 12 teams, but it was its first year. Last year we came back, we had just under 45 teams. Just under 800 players got the message that, hey, we're here for you, right? These are some of the signs you need to identify. And we had Fabienne and Jen from the London Abuse Women's Centre there speaking to all the players, all the teams.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was just an amazing environment where you think about over 800 girls from across the province got that message that day during the tournament.
And it must be doing a lot for, you're giving back to the Abuse Women's Centre as well. Is it a fundraiser? Or?
It is. I mean, essentially, the tournament is. Last year we raised $5,000 and donated $5,000 of the proceeds to London Abuse Women's Centre. This year's goal is $10,000. Last year we had some incremental expenses because the tournament grew really quick.
Yeah.
So our goal is 60 teams this year, and our goal is $10,000.
And where did the teams come from? All over Ontario,
Literally.
All over Canada?
Yeah, I mean, our furthest was Kingston last year. This year we've already got a team from Ottawa. Again, we can go back to Windsor. They come from Sarnia. We had Peterborough as well, and then everything in between, especially the GTA. I mean, if you have any listeners from the GTA, I don't mean to offend them, but they think that driving to London from Toronto is like, us going to Calgary, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy. But we had so many teams from Toronto sign up, and it was awesome. So we also paired up with another local company called Event Connect. They're based here in London, and they manage a lot of tournaments across North America. And, all that kind of worked out in our favor to donate the $5,000 to the center.
Fantastic. So keeping young women and I guess Whitecaps is a co-ed organization.
We offer programming to both male and female.
Right.
We offer programming in what I call like 4 different levels. Like we have our what we call future caps. Then we have our recreational as well, right? And then if you're a little more competitive, we have our competitive stream, which includes regional, which 2 of our amazing players will be here to talk about our Shine the Light tournament, a little bit more on what we do,
right.
And how they feel and how they responded to the tournament. And then also, we have our Top Elite Youth League, which is our talented pathway.
So a welcoming environment to people who love the game at lots of different levels.
That's right.
And at the same time, giving back to this organization, which is doing such vital
Oh.
work in our community, but I guess spreading that message to all of these young women from all over.
All over. I mean, the messaging is really what we're after, right? I mean, even when I sit there and I spoke with Jennifer Dunn on our podcast, because we have our own podcast, you know, you can find our podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts, right?
Right.
And we just had one last Thursday with Jennifer Dunn, who's the executive director at London
Yes.
Abuse Women's Center. And, you know, she said it perfect. I mean, the donation's awesome because they need the money, right? There's no bones about it.
Right.
They need the money. But the awareness, I mean, if we can create this level of awareness and keep it going and building, that center, she would love to be out of work. She would love to not
No
be
kidding.
doing what she does.
Right.
Right? Because that's what it's all about.
Yes.
Is at some point, are we going to get to the point where we don't need to talk about the London Abuse Women's Center? Because we've received our goal, like we've achieved our
Right.
goal, right? So
Yeah, a safer world for women and girls.
that's right.
Exactly.
That's what we're trying to achieve with that. Again, a strong tournament with a strong message. And that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish there with that.
And I know you're trying to accomplish some other fantastic goals as well, but we do have to take a break, and I want to hear more about what Whitecaps Football Club of London is doing here in our community after the break, so please stay with us. Welcome back to LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Brona. I've been talking to my friend and president of Whitecaps Football Club London, Abbi. He has been telling us a lot about this fantastic tournament that's been held for the last 3 years, Shine the Light Tournament, and that's coming up in June?
Right, June 2nd?
Right.
June 4th.
Yeah, so, and there's still lots of time for clubs and young people to sign up.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have about 15 clubs signed up, but the majority of teams will now be collected, and you know, hopefully we get to 60.
I feel confident. If you've been
yeah.
growing this exponentially for the last couple of years, I feel confident that you're going to get to your goal as well. But I know that there is another initiative of Whitecaps Football Club that you're really passionate about, and I want you to tell our viewers about this because this is fascinating.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I mean, again, trying to make great people on the pitch and off the pitch
Yes.
is part of, again, the bigger focus all the time. Every time we ask ourselves something, it's two questions: who are we and who do we want to be? And we kind of want to guide our principles and never leave them. And the other program was, because we're a national youth licensed club, there is an expectation that we offer soccer for all, right? And one of the soccer for all programmings that I really became engaged with, and our club became engaged with, was blind soccer, low vision impairment players. It's something else. And so I reached out. There is a leader in this province. His name's Matt Greenwood, and he is unbelievable. Like his energy is contagious. Like you can't stand beside him and not start moving and feeling the way he does, because he's just that type of guy. And he's very passionate about blind soccer. And technically the name is Sessafoot, or 5-a-side, right? And but here, because we're growing it in London so quickly, 5-a-side might, you know, result in many 50-year-olds signing up for 5-a-side soccer. So we need to call it blind soccer for now until we build that understanding in our area.
Gotcha.
But Matt Greenwood runs a company called Sockability, and if any of your viewers have any type of social media, they can look it up. It's called Sockability. Soccer, and then ability. So again, low vision. We began our program just almost 2 months ago here. We've got 5 players training with us that have 0 to no eye vision at all. And I know that many of the viewers are going, oh my God, how would they play soccer? How would they play soccer? Well, it's very simple. I think you're closer to the ball. You mind grabbing the ball? Yeah, so if you can hear, there's jingles in it. There's noise, right? Noisemakers. So as the ball's moving, that's how the players identify where the ball is and run to it. Now, there's a lot behind it as well.
Of course.
You know, on how there's rules, like they need to use a word called voy, and continue to say voy, 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 so the defending player, the attacking player can hear, right? Because if not, that's considered a foul if 2 people hit,
Okay.
right? But I can tell you, we were up in Lake Joseph, and Lake Joseph is the head location for the CNIB, right? It's a camp up in Muskoka area.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you, we were there for training back in May of 2022, and I thought we were going to go there and meet a bunch of really nice people. Like, they're blind, they're going to, it's going to be nice. And then as soon as that whistle blew, they were so competitive. I was so ignorant to think that, they would all be huggy-duggy, lovey-lovey. No, when that whistle was blown,
It was go time.
it was go time, and they started hitting, tackling, slide tackling. We're sitting there going, what are we watching? We're in shock. I met this woman, Sylvia, I believe her name was. She was there. She had to leave the camp early because she's on the Canadian national blind rowing team, right? Like, I mean, she's just a monster. She's amazing. Like, she's just so tough. And so that really motivated us even more. We have two coaches at the club, Coach Andrew and Coach Mo, that signed up for this and also came to Lake Joseph and got trained. So, Brona, I can tell you, we're still looking for some more players. So if any of your viewers out there know anyone that's got low vision or is blind or what have you, and they need to do something, they want to do something.
All ages.
All ages at this time until we start dividing, until we get the numbers to start offering, let's say, an ages 8 to 12 or a 13 to 17 or whatever. But at this time, everyone's kind of combined and we separate. We have about 7 instructors at the training, so there's lots of help, right? And it's amazing. I mean, last week, a boy named Aiden that uses a walking stick for absolutely everything. Brona, it's just like, it just almost makes me bring goosebumps and stuff, right? Like, think about this. He needs a walking stick, and to get that walking stick out of his hand to like just see if he could follow the ball. And now he's kicking it. Like, just 3 sessions later, he's drilling the ball into the net where he couldn't even stand without his walking stick, right? It's amazing. It's amazing to watch. I love what we're doing, and I think you can tell that this is a big thing.
Yes, like you can tell how your passion for it. Like you were describing, I think Mark, you said his name was, like how like passionate he is about the game. But you can just feel the energy about how much you get out of being involved in this club.
Well, it's beautiful. I mean, I've always believed in. I don't believe in status quo. I don't believe in a lot of rules. I'm always about breaking down barriers. I never believe that if you're heading somewhere and there's a dead end, you got to find yourself around it. I mean, that's how I felt as a vision. I have vision. I mean, we have no excuse. I mean, I know that's a general comment. I'm not saying we don't have any excuse, but when you meet an athlete that could only use a walking stick to walk, and now you're seeing them chase down a soccer ball in the gym, and they're totally blind. They've never had vision ever in their life. So they don't have, let's say someone lost their vision 2 years ago and they're 25. They still have an idea of what a gym looks like, right? Or what a floor looks like. This boy had nothing, like no vision from birth.
Right.
And for him to be able to do something like this and know that I had a piece of like putting that smile on his face, and our team, like Coach Mo and Coach Andrew, these two are incredible gifts to our club, let alone the program. You should see the joy it brings them.
Amazing.
Right,
And so for people in our community, so maybe people who are watching this show right now, maybe young people who either have never tried soccer or are, somewhere else in their whole, training for soccer, or, just want to try something new, make some new friends. How do people get involved?
Well, I mean, they can reach out to our club, info@whitecapslondon.ca. Right.
So always recruiting for players, for coaches.
Especially coaches. I mean, we love it. If someone, there's so many people, and even referees. We're big on the referee side as well at the club. We really do lead a lot of the stuff in the area. So, yes, referees, coaching development, referee development, player development, and then just, hey, you want to be involved in our club somehow? Let's go. Get on.
And come watch.
That's right. I mean, that too. I mean, last year we had probably the largest crowd we've ever had. One of our female teams actually got in the finals, semifinals here, and the game was in St. Thomas at One Password Park. And I got to tell you, there was over like 300-400 people at that game. And these 17, 16-year-old girls, they never played in front of those kind of numbers before. Like it was awesome, right? So again, that's kind of where we're at. And but the blind soccer piece, the shine the light piece. These are just things that we're trying to do outside the, hey, yeah, we're trying to be a strong soccer club too. Right?
And we're going to meet some of the players from your Strong Soccer Club
I'm
after
thrilled.
this break, but we do have to take another break, so thanks for being here, Abby. Please stay with us, and we're going to meet a couple of players from Whitecaps Football Club London after this. Welcome back to LDN ONT TV here on Rogers TV. We've been talking to Abby, who's the president of Whitecaps Football Club London. Pleasure to introduce now Xenia and Samantha. They're both members of the club, so football players. For the last few years, you've been involved in some of the tournaments that Abby was talking about. Talk to me about your involvement in the club, and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So basically, me and Sammy both started playing like 4 years ago, I think, and our
Yeah.
team only had like 9 players.
Yeah, when we started, there was
Yeah.
not a lot.
Yeah, there's only 9 of us, and then our team like started to grow over the years, and then we just started going into more tournaments and started becoming a really good team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before you got involved with Whitecaps, were you playing soccer like in leagues or football in leagues around London, played at school?
Yeah, I was playing in leagues around London before, but nothing quite as competitive as Whitecaps.
I played like just during the summer, every year, just during the summer. Yeah.
And so what's the difference? How, like, obviously you've been learning a lot. Are you becoming more competitive? Obviously making friends?
Oh yeah, for sure. Whitecaps, it's cool because I feel, especially on our team that we have such a good bond as a team, and it's way different than any team that I've been on. Like, it's just a strong bond, and it's like fun to go play soccer.
Yeah, like
Awesome.
ever since we started playing, like we have some of the same players since like 4 years ago, and we've really like had a really good connection. And I think I've improved a lot as a player
Yeah,
because
for sure.
I only played in the summer. So then when I joined Whitecaps, I really started to like improve my skills. And instead of it just being in the summer, like twice a week, it started to be like 3 times a week every.
That's
like,
a big
yeah.
commitment. So you're
Yeah.
playing all year round, so indoor. Awesome. What's the training like? Is it, pretty rigorous?
It's good. You do improve every year that you play, and every time
Yeah.
you go on the pitch. It's very cool, and the coaching is amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good.
All right, so obviously the Shine the Light tournament, that's coming up, so that's a goal. What about, your future in football? Do you have big dreams about, competing on a bigger stage?
I just hope to keep playing. Like, as long as I love the game, I'm going to continue playing it. And right now I do have a love for the game, but I don't really want to become like a professional soccer player. That's why Whitecaps is so great, because there's a league that we can go and we can be really competitive and we can be a good team, but it's still fun, like not, yeah.
Yeah, and like Abby said, like a lot of girls our age just stop playing, and I think I really just want to keep playing and keep my skills up, and maybe eventually when I go to like university or something, play for like a university
Yeah.
team.
So for young people who might be watching, or the parents of young people who might be watching, maybe some words of encouragement. Is it, a welcoming environment? What would you say to people who are kind of on the fence about it?
Do it. 100%. Like, just do it. It's great. It's amazing.
I think it's a really welcoming environment, and just how we're starting to do like the blind soccer, for example, and Shine the Light and all these tournaments, it's really like encouraging people and just like shining light on different things that are happening, and
Yeah.
just wanting people to come in. and be part of the
Absolutely.
team.
So if you've been playing for 4 years now, you're both in high school?
Yes.
And so if professional soccer is maybe not, the goal, or, you never know, things might change, what else would you like to do?
Ooh, that's hard. I have no idea.
I just really want to do well in school,
Yeah.
and just like in the future, I really want to do like a job that helps other people, and also in sports. Like I want to do something in kinesiology, where I'm
Fantastic.
like helping people, like physiotherapy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so many wonderful ways to, I guess, be, a helpful person in our community. So, like I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, it used to be we just talked about politics on this show, but there are so many ways to serve
Yeah.
in the community. And one of them is by keeping yourself in shape, right? Taking care of your body, building community within your club, and also spreading this message, welcoming people into your club.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for telling us
Thank you.
about
Thank
Whitecaps
you.
London. Good luck in the tournament. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you, Abby, for being here as well. And we hope you'll tune in again next week for more LDN ONT TV.